always being judged by a bunch of people who follow consent laws. I don't go outside, I prefer to the minors. But I've been taking therapy, so I'm okay, yeah.
I get depression, I feel the pressure, I'll make this my best, so money I'm stretching. I don't get to keep it, it's all an investment, like he's on testing.
Cosmodore has been a polarizing career ever since he sent lewd images to minors, and more recently he's decided to make excuse after excuse after response after response after apology after apology in a vain attempt to try and gain back any of his previous following, with some subtle attempt to return to the limelight while playing it off as if he doesn't really care about returning to social media and just wants to hold himself accountable, as he simultaneously continues to commit all of the actions he was called out for over and over again in a self-perpetuating cycle that only highlights how untrustworthy he really is at the core. And more recently, Cosmodore has decided to make, once again, another cycle of the actions where Cosmodore makes another video and talks more on some of their more alleged crimes, admitting to more things and making more excuses for all of their actions, while playing it off like this time they're being truthful, this time they're gonna stop, this time they've learned, and then once again they probably haven't. Cosmodore should not return to the internet, but today I'm going to listen to their response, I guess, and give them a chance to explain their side, as I'm one that believes in hearing someone out, I guess. I probably shouldn't at this point, but it's good to at least hear what he says, so maybe in the possible legal case in the future, he'll be held accountable for these actions. But as you know, before I begin, I have to sell out for a few seconds. Hi, I'm HarleyTBS. I'm everybody's least favourite commentator, so hi, nice to meet you. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and feel free to check out my other social media down below. With that being said, you can also click the join button to support me financially, get shouted at the end of videos, and also it would just be highly appreciated. And with that being said, let's get right into it.
I'm sorry. I want to say that right up front so there's no mistaking with the message of this video, and so I don't say it a million times over because it loses meaning every time.
I'm in complete disbelief that he decided to continue making another apology, the fifth one to be exact, to the audience instead of one to the victims he's harmed, while continuing to make more excuses and trying to downplay this situation from an allegation he'll never get away from to something that he can just keep apologizing for and it'll all go away. That's not how this is gonna work. No one will forgive you for this, and you'll be forever known as the person that took advantage of their fans. Stop making excuses.
Consider this an update to the last video, but not as rushed out and me trying to save face, because that's all I ever did, really.
I'd argue the video he's now making is just as much of him saving face as his previous video, and as such I feel like this statement looks incredibly ironic, especially because he says it's so rushed out, when this video is clearly just as rushed out. The visuals look awful, the audio sounds awful, and the video clearly has no script, no planning, or no forethought. I don't know why he decided to make another video instead of just taking the time to get himself actual help a month after he was previously returning and leaving from YouTube because he realized his mistake. It seems ridiculous that this dude can't even take a month without making another apology, another response, another excuse, or admitting to more and more things. But here we are again in this perpetuating cycle where Cosmodore seems to continue doing the same things over and over and over, and this will become more prevalent as we'll continue through the video, as once again this is just Cosmodore defending himself on all of his actions.
Is a term I for the longest time avoided using because you hear all these stories about creators abusing their platform to get with fans, underage fans, and I thought, that's not what I did, is it? But for as much as I wanted to say that these people, these kids, were special to me, there was an inherent power imbalance in the place from the get-go that I took advantage of to get with them. And regardless of their age, this would have been f***ed up. But since they were underage, regardless of how old exactly, they were not old enough to make their own decisions, and I held a power over them that I should have realized I had.
I'd like to give my point of view on this statement here, as a content creator with a fourth or fifth of Cosmodore's following, I believe that Cosmodore's statement here is incredibly ignorant, not thought out, and incredibly manipulative. As the content creator, I am incredibly aware that if I was to approach a fan and send them illicit messages with no regard for age or anything else, that would be problematic, as I would be inherently taking advantage of a power dynamic because I would be seeking them out as a fan and sending them explicit messages, and while obviously them being a minor is the bigger issue in this situation, I feel like every creator would be aware to an extent that approaching a fan and sending these messages would be incredibly ignorant at best and incredibly manipulatory at worst.
And I was not only in denial about this, but I also lied about it to my friends, to my family, and most of all myself. And I tried justifying it to my family, to my friends, and to myself, saying it's not so bad because it's normal the way I live, all that crap.
I feel the fact that Cosmodore was justifying this relationship to some of their family and friends really says a lot to me, as it's quite obvious that Cosmodore would have known how wrong this relationship was if they were justifying it to their family, as obviously their family and their friends would bring up clear issues with this situation, and the fact that Cosmodore was lying about the fact that that thing was normal in Germany and that people in their friend group and family were doing it all the time really is indicative of Cosmodore's personality, and their justification of this situation to their family says to me that Cosmodore from the start knew how wrong this behavior was, but didn't want to admit it publicly and didn't want to admit it to themselves, and instead tried to do anything they could to save face online while continuing this behavior without any actual care for learning what was wrong with themselves and improving their behavior.
And where the first time someone may have given me the benefit of the doubt, saying I did not know better, that maybe I wanted to keep it secret so my friends would leave me, that it was the result of bad influences, all of which is true. A second time, and especially a third time, that's not a coincidence.
Wait a second, play that again.
Especially a third time, that's not a coincidence.
Did he say a third victim? Wait, I'm in disbelief. Did he say a third victim? There are now 3 Cosmodore victims, one of which we know to have been completely with Cosmodore's own admission. How is this still happening? Where is the legal action? Where is the backlash? Where is Cosmodore being blocked from this access? Where is Cosmodore getting help? Where is Cosmodore learning? Where is Cosmodore changing? Where is the help? Where is the change? Where is the resolution of these problems? Where is the absolute justice that this dude deserves? Delete social media. Never come back. At this point, there is no more justification. 1, yeah, maybe you didn't know better. Maybe you made a mistake. You know, those excuses that people give to YouTubers. 2, that was insane. No one should have forgiven you under any means. 3, no, dude, that's fucking it. Goodbye. Get the off of social media.
And when I said I would break out of that pattern, I did the opposite and dated someone underage yet again, after I've already proven myself to be a shitty, abusive, lying
I am seriously, genuinely concerned that no legal justice has been taken against the guy that is sat in his room right now telling me that there are more victims, telling me that he's continued this behavior, telling me to my face that he is that he has had sexual contact with multiple minors, that he's continued this behavior and it is a pattern. Where is any of the justice against this guy? This guy should be in handcuffs, not in his bedroom getting new jobs and continue living, making more videos according to his community announcement. Where is the action?
I first want to talk about my relationship with who definitely got to see the kind of person I was the most and firsthand. They've since taken down the video where they talk about our relationship, if you want to call it that, so I won't dig into old wounds too much here, but it's so clear from watching that video how badly I've influenced their life, their perception of themselves, and their standing online, and I really hope they're doing better now, because, man, I was so awful to them. I really was. And I hate that I couldn't see that for so long, thinking I needed to apologize to them, that I was owed some closure, when I didn't realize me being in their life was the problem in the first place. And there are still so many moments where I wish I could talk to them, ask them if they're okay, but I really need to learn to let things like that go and accept the kind of person I was. And I really tried not to be afterwards, like my relationship after that, where I really tried to make sure this person was taken care of, but that just resulted in me becoming so needy and obsessive. And just as soon as they left me, I went right back to texting fans again, trying to feel wanted again. This was when I would make a video defending myself after I made a video saying how sorry I am, and I just stopped making sense altogether at that point. And any chance I had of being a reputable source was blown right out the window when it turns out I'm dating yet another minor. And I could give you this whole spiel about how she's so mature for her age, how she lied about her age, how it was different this time, but this isn't something that can just be explained away. Me, an adult, has dated a minor, hasn't backed out when I found about her real age, and exhibited predatory behavior for a second time. And even that's not true, because In between all that, I also tried to get with my best friend at the time, who was also underage.
Cosmodore is admitting to, with predatory intent, involving with 4 minors now, with the intent to get involved with them, and this dude still has a YouTube channel. This dude is still able to leave things like his contact email in his description. This dude is still able to have a public Instagram messaging chat option open, and I know later in the video, which I'm not going to address, he says that minors can't engage with him anymore. The contact link is below. His Instagram DMs are open. There are ways for him to involve with minors anymore, and he even states later on in his video that he's still got contact with minors. This dude is in a position where he's received no legal or authoritarian backlash for the actions he's committed. He hasn't lost his channel. He hasn't lost his social media. He's got access to do anything. He's got access to do all of this again. And people are just pretending like it isn't happening now. People are pretending like everything's been solved and like there isn't still an issue. Okay, I decided to cut past me off because I was about to give Cosmodore some credit, saying that potentially there weren't ways for him to contact with minors anymore and that he wouldn't be responding to minors anymore. But on the build up to this video, I decided to reach out to him, full well not expecting a response, because I believed, oh yeah, he's probably not going to be reading message responses, especially from minors anymore. And then he replied to me. He proved my point. This dude is not actually sticking with the words he's claiming. He says in his video that he's cut off all ways for people to contact him, all minors to be able to contact him, and he's still replying to minors when they message him. He's still engaging with people on his messages. He's still doing it. There is no more excuse for this. I'm going off script so far because I am in absolute disbelief that this dude continues to do everything he says he's against, everything he says he's learned from, everything he says he's fixed and resolved and doesn't do anymore and won't ever do anymore. He's continuing to do it.
And apology tours I've let you all endure over this past year, trying to weasel my way back into the limelight.
But he's working on more videos. He's trying to weasel his way back into the limelight still with another false apology under fake pretenses of learning and changing and realizing what he's done wrong and making it so that minors can't engage with him anymore in hopes that he could somehow sliver his way just back through the cracks enough to peek his head through and make enough money to live off of YouTube again and gain following again and somehow receive some positive attention online again. It's not gonna work. It won't work. You've lost your chance. Get off. Get off the internet.
Because the most fucked up thing, despite how I still do care for the last minor I dated, which in itself is a problem that I care about them. I know I have a problem, I know that. Is that a very sick part of me only dated her because I was so addicted to this hate that I got from people, because then at least people are talking about me again. Then at least I'd feel relevant again, for the wrong reasons, obviously, but you know, I did the most hard of things to somehow just have people talk about me.
He groomed a child, manipulated them, ruined their mental state. And for what? For a bit of small time attention? For people to give him a little bit of backlash so that he could feel like the internet cared about him again? So that he could get this crumb of attention? He traumatized someone for the rest of their life. Is that what you're seriously telling me right now? Because if that is how desperate this dude is for clout online and for attention online, I am disgusted. The fact that there was someone on social media platforms like this trying to get attention through kids is ridiculous. I started this video with my PG approach, right? I'm not gonna say the buzzwords like, because I wanted this video to not get demonetized so that maybe more people would see it, so more people would be aware of him. But I can't keep myself from calling out how disgusting this guy is.
I think part of me also wanted to make up for what happened with, like, my mind was telling me, if you can't make this minor happy, then things will never be okay. Then you'd not only be labeled as a but as an abusive one at that. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't abusive for once, so that's the bare minimum.
Actually, I personally believe the bare minimum is not sending explicit messages to minors, but I guess at this point to each their own. With that being said, thanks for watching another video of how hard is it to not send illicit messages to kids. With that being said, I'm completely soulless at this point. I'm literally dead inside. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your continued support in these videos, and if you'd like to continue to support me a little bit more, I'm aiming for 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're currently almost at 40,000, so if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be highly appreciated. You can also check out my other social media down below, and feel free to become a channel member member by clicking the join button, and you'll get one of these 3 icons beside your name. That would also be highly appreciated, as it goes right back into funding these videos, buying things like this camera, this mic, and a whole bunch more that can only be possible if you support these videos. With that being said, thank you for watching, I appreciate all of the support, and with that being said, I'll see you next time. Peace.
Says she wanna rock with it like me. I'm a stylish guy. Spend a little guap with it like me. We can catch a fly. Says she wanna rock with it like me.